March 1961. Operation Searchlight by the Pakistani Army begins to curb Bangladeshi nationalist groups in Dhaka. April 1971. Sheikh Mujib Rehman is arrested and sent to Pakistan. Major Ziaur Rehman issues declaration on National Bangladesh Radio. December 1971. Indian troops enter Bangladesh post-Pakistani airstrikes on northwest India. December 1971. The instrument of surrender is signed between Pakistan and the India-Bangladesh Allied Force, signalling the end of the war. November 1972. The Constituent Assembly of Bangladesh adopts the constitution, recognizing Bangladesh as a secular parliamentary democracy. 1973, Sheikh Mujib Rehman's Awami League sweeps the parliamentary election with an absolute majority. January of 1975. The Fourth Constitutional Amendment Act is passed, eroding the original constitution. The Fourth Constitutional Amendment Act of 1975 replaced the parliamentary system with a presidential system, banned other political parties and opposition-run newspapers. August of 1975. A coup is organized by a minister in Mujibur's cabinet, Kandakar Ahmed, and the army. Sheikh Mujib Rehman is assassinated. 3rd of November 1975, pro-Mujibur forces led by Brigadier Khaled Musharraf imprison Kandakar Ahmed and Deputy Chief of Army Ziaur Rehman. Musharraf places the Chief Justice of Bangladesh, Abu Sadat Sayem, as acting president and elevates himself as Chief of Army. 7th November 1975, Colonel Abu Tahir and the Jatiya Samajtantrik Dal assassinate Khaled Musharraf and free Ziaur Rehman. Under President Sayem, Ziaur Rehman takes over the role of Deputy Chief Martial Law Administrator with vast executive powers. 1977, Ziaur Rehman starts the Bangladesh National Party and becomes the first democratically elected president in 1978. May 1981. A faction of the Bangladesh army assassinates President Rahman during a trip to Chittagong. June 1981. Vice President Abdus Sattar becomes President of Bangladesh and imposes a state of emergency. November 1981. President Abdus Sattar wins the election. March 1982. A bloodless coup by Chief of Army Mohammad Ershad removes President Abdus Sattar. Mohammad Ershad takes over as Chief Martial Law Administrator with Justice Abul Fazl Chowdhury as President. December 1983. Mohammad Ershad takes over as President, suspends the Constitution and declares martial law. By 1985, Mohammad Ershad becomes President of Bangladesh in the 1985 referendum. In 1987, Mohammad Ershad passes a law to include the military in local administration, which led to widespread protests by all parties. This unrest ultimately forced Ershad to declare an emergency. By 1990, large unified protests led to Ershad resigning. An interim government was then set up to conduct elections. In 1991, Khaleda Zia becomes the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. By 1996, a caretaker government is placed to conduct new elections. During this period, the Chief of Army, Abu Saleh Nassim, attempts a coup against the caretaker government, but, well, he fails. In 1996, Sheikh Hasina begins her first term as Prime Minister. In 2006, Khaleda Zia's second term came to an end. Due to protests about the neutrality of the caretaker government, opposition parties took to the streets in significant numbers. By 2007, the situation had escalated to the point where forming a caretaker government or holding elections seemed impossible. The army declared an emergency and appointed a military-backed government to restore order. Fast forward to 2008, parliamentary elections were finally held. Sheikh Hasina returned to power and continued to lead until 2024. In 2009, a significant event shook Bangladesh. The paramilitary force known as the Bangladesh Rifles staged a mutiny. Fast forward to 2011, when another serious challenge emerged. A coup attempt aimed at overthrowing the Prime Minister was orchestrated by mid-level army officers. Fortunately, this plot was identified and prevented by the army. By 2018, the nation witnessed massive protests against the quota system. This system reserved over 50% of government posts, with 30% specifically for the children of the 1971 freedom fighters. Under mounting pressure, Sheikh Hasina issued a notification to remove quotas for a limited number of positions. June 2024. The Bangladesh Supreme Court deems the 2018 notification as illegal and restores the quota system. Protests break out against the quota system, seen as favouring Awami League members, and violence ensues between police, pro-quota agitators and anti-quota protesters. In July 2024, the Bangladesh Supreme Court revises the quota ruling and states that quotas must be reduced to 7%, with 5% allocated for the grandchildren of freedom fighters. This ruling forces Sheikh Hasina to flee from Bangladesh. An interim government is formed by the Chief of Army, headed by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus. Elections are yet to be announced.